Hello, everyone. My name is Julie McVey, and this is Unordinary Made Ordinary, where we talk about extraordinary experiences with everyday people. And today we're talking with Cordelia Darkly. Welcome, Cordelia.
Hey everybody. Hi, Julie.
Hello. Okay, for a second there, I thought I was on mute, but I'm not. We're good. So glad that you are here. I am really excited about our conversation. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Um,
Oh, me too.
and just love your color and your expression today, I have to say.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Feeling purple today.
Lovely. I like it. So if you wouldn't mind, could you share just a little bit about yourself and a little background?
Yeah. My name's Cordelia, and I am a pagan priestess. I'm an astral traveler. I'm a tarot card reader. I've been on a spiritual journey for like about 9, 10 years now. I've been really focused just on my spiritual path, and that's kind of where astral projection became part of my life too.
Okay, cool. So then what initially, that's a long time, a lot of years. What initially got you interested in this?
Like in astral projection.
Well, just your first, no, just your spiritual stuff in general, like your first
Um,
experiences of the spiritual.
to be honest, I was like sneaking. I used to read so much when I was little, and my parents really didn't police what I was doing. Like they just like give me money and let me go into the bookstore. So I used to buy books about witches. I was just like obsessed with witches from a really young age. And there were these like teenage witchcraft books that were in the store that I would buy those and I would just like eat them up. I'd read all of them just to learn about what real witches were doing because I had seen, like Halloween stuff and I was not very interested in what was going on there. I just wanted to know if they were real and what they were doing and how I could be one. And so I feel like it's pretty much been with me my whole life, but I just didn't understand like practical uses for things like that until I was in my 20s.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know really, I know very little about witches and you said pagan priestess, if that's related.
Yeah. I like have actually had formal training in pagan priestessing. So I went to this, it was called a mystery school in Oregon, and it like kind of like a magical college. It's like a 4-year program where they teach you about just like how to do magic and how to perform ritual and how to like put on a ritual, organize a ritual, just so many skills in that school.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So this is your 20s, you said, 4 years, 4 years in this particular school.
Yeah, like a real college experience, like a Hogwarts experience.
Okay. Wow. I think you're my maybe my first that's gone to such a school. Actually maybe one other person. But so what kinds of what drew you to it? What are the benefits, if I can, before we get into other stuff of this particular
Yeah.
area?
Um, and are we talking about like the benefits of spiritual practice or the benefits of astral projection?
Spiritual practice right now. I'm just curious about this area I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of information on.
So I think that before, well, like I said, when I was really young, I was interested in reading books about spirituality, especially witchcraft and magic. And I did, read other books as I grew up as well. And I think that I really wanted to have some sort of religious belief, but I just wasn't really I guess I was just feeling like I was mainly experimenting and not really like getting much forward momentum in a spiritual practice. And I think that has a lot to do with me just being really into like structure. So when I found that school, I felt like that was the right thing for me to like learn about that in a structured environment. And I think I was really just seeking to I guess, have a spiritual practice that made me feel more connected to the earth and myself and other people around me, and to just have that be like something significant and part of my day to day life. And I just didn't feel like I was getting there just like reading about things on my own. But I also didn't feel exactly like just, walking into like a church was really what I was looking for either. It definitely felt like I was seeking more of a like personal path for myself.
And
And I think
you didn't have influence from your mom, dad, siblings. They were not involved in any kind of religious stuff at all?
no, they like wouldn't even talk about God with me. They were really hands off about that. Just like I think my mom believes in God, but she doesn't go to church, doesn't talk to anybody about it.
Hmm. Okay. Wow, this is pretty cool that you're just such a bright, inquisitive kid that you're taking this path from such a young age, which is pretty
Y-
cool.
Yeah, I think it's just something that's really been true about me since I was little is just that I'm like curious to a fault. So when I hear about things, I just want to know like how they work. And so I think as soon as I heard about witches and magic, I just wanted to know how it worked.
Yes. Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I was kind of fascinated in that stuff too. Um, I was just thinking of Bewitched, like that was one of my favorite shows way, way back,
Yes.
way, way back. Um, so when did you have your first, what you would call a spiritual experience, would you say?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. Um, it's really hard to pinpoint. Uh, I just feel like so many little things are spiritual experiences to me.
True.
I feel like the sense of like rightness in time, place, deja vu, just little things like
Synchronicities.
that.
Mhm.
Yes, synchronicities that you notice. I feel like those are probably my first kinds of spiritual
That
experiences.
you're
Just
aware of. I'm sure they're happening to us all the time, but it's a
yeah,
different timing when we're becoming aware of those. So sure, for sure.
yeah, just those little like day-to-day moments where some synchronicity is just so big that you're like, there's no way this is just a coincidence. Like I really feel like this is means something or is happening. And I think the excitement that I feel when there's moments like that has really led me to like seek it out more and try to understand it.
Hmm. Okay, so now you're progressing along um, after your training. And so what led into the interest in out of body experiences, astral projection?
So we're gonna go back to childhood for that
Oh,
one.
oh, okay.
Because I actually have kind of like a reverse story about astral projection. So it's something that I do accidentally sometimes. And I didn't really know that that's what it was called or like that's what it was even. So when I started going to that school, we would do like really long, like shamanic journeys or trances, or you might call them a guided meditation for somebody that doesn't really know what that terminology is.
Hmm.
So at the school, we would have these very long guided meditations to meet spirit guides or goddesses or do some kind of work with connecting with like the land or something like that. And I was going out of body during those experiences. And my teachers would tell me that we were in the astral realm when we were doing that. And so I came to understand that that's the place I was going then. Through talking to some of my classmates, I learned that my experience where I was leaving my body was not really what they were experiencing during the guided meditations or trances. Um, So that kind of, because I learned that my experience was a bit different than what my classmates were experiencing in the trances, I started to research like what is the astral realm and
Right.
what is an out of body experience. And once I started reading about other people's experiences, I could kind of pinpoint moments that I had done this on accident at different points in my life. And so if I really trace back to the first time that I can remember doing that, I was like 8 or 9. Um, I was on this piece of property that my father owned. He had a big piece of land that had some like forest area, kind of in the back of the land. Like our house was up in front, and then just a lot of forest, several acres that he owned. And there really wasn't a lot of people around there. So as a kid, I was allowed to just like go wherever I wanted with my dog, as long as it was like light outside still. And so I would take my dog and we'd go through the woods, on these trails. And there was this really far into the woods, probably the edge of our property, there was this like little, almost like a lean-to, or like somebody had fashioned a tent, with a tree and a piece of fabric and some sticks. And so it was just like, for me, I felt like I had found like a fort or a playhouse.
Right.
And so I would crawl inside of it. And I know now that that was probably like a houseless person's camp out or something. And it probably wasn't super safe for me to be going there by myself. But I would go there in the day and nobody was ever there. And I would just like lay down there. And I would be, like staring up at the sky. So I'd be like on the dirt in the ground, looking up at trees and just like the quality of light coming through the branches. And it was just like so mesmerizing to me. And I would almost like fall asleep while that was happening.
Sure.
And right before I would fall asleep, I would like rise up and then I would go flying through the trees, and I could like fly all the way back through the forest and over my house. And I I think that I thought that I was just like having an imagination. Like when you're a kid, you think everything you do is just like normal and that everybody else experiences it
Right.
too. So that's really what I pinpoint as my first few experiences, because I would just go to that fort and lay there forever and do that. And that was like my fun little game as a child.
Gosh, that is so cool. I mean, I had a pretty good imagination, but that was probably like a 3D experience for you. Like when we go out of body and it's quite,
Yeah.
feels quite real. The sensations are real and all of that. How fun. So,
Yeah, but I didn't know. Like I thought that was
oh,
just
everyone
something
does
that all
this.
Yes, yes.
My goodness. Okay, I have a question back at the school, and they're saying like, no, we don't have those kinds of shamanic experiences where we're out of body. What did they describe what their experiences were like, how they were unlike yours?
Yeah. So, for me, what the difference would be is like I would start with everybody else. I'd be like sitting up and, with my eyes closed, listening to, whoever the priestess was that day that was leading us through the journey. And we would get very relaxed, like in a trance-like state before we would start, like interacting with beings, and they would describe imagery like, follow this trail, go down this thing, you're going to see this, and then you're going to wait for this being. And, so it was very structured, like a guided meditation. And they would leave space for you to do certain things. And then there would be more, like guided prompting from the priestess. And so for me, when I would do that, there would always be this point where I could like deviate from that and like go into the expanse. And as I would do that, the sound of the guided trance would just kind of peter out into nothing, like as if
Mm,
I was leaving.
mhm.
And then I would have these really wild experiences that were a bit different than what the guided trance was. Like I would be doing that for a time and then I'd just go off and do my own thing. And so when we would come back, there were times where people were like waking me up to leave that part of the class. And I had classmates that thought I was sleeping sometimes when we were doing that. I'm sure I looked like I was sleeping. So I would ask other people, well, what happened for you in that journey? And they would tell me that they could follow through the whole thing and that they would, like sometimes see things, but sometimes not. And that it was kind of like, it just felt, I could tell by how they were describing that they were having kind of like a spotty visualization, whereas I was like in a movie
You were
doing all.
immersed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think really just comparing with classmates what those experiences were like for people. And like some of my classmates don't get any visuals at all when they do those sorts of trances. And they just,
Right.
will like journal words or whatever, and they move around and open their eyes. And so it would just, I could tell it was pretty different.
Yes. Now, you said during these shamanic journeys, though, you would meet spirit guides and maybe animal spirit, I don't know, maybe animal spirit guides. I don't know, ET spirit
Yeah.
guides. I have no idea, but I was going to ask you, since then, like, have you met any guides that have been sticking with you throughout your entire life? And if you could share a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So the way that we kind of frame guides in my practice, we talk about how like there's guides, there's allies, there's ancestors. You can have all these kind of like guardians or spirit beings that are like on your team spiritually. And so some of those are going to be ones that are with you your whole life. Other times you'll just get one that like pops up for a chapter or a project or something. And so it can be like you were asking, some of them can be lifelong guides, and then other ones just are sort of there for a very short project with you.
Interesting.
So I like to, when I check in every morning, I'll just call my guides to me. And for several years, I would always write down who showed up every day, because I was kind of like taking my own like data on who's always here and who's only sometimes here. And I've definitely had different animals. Animals especially seem more transient to me. Like I'll just see a random goat one day and then I just don't ever see it again. Like they kind of come and go. But other beings like Aphrodite is a goddess that I work with a lot. Like I'm almost to the point where I would say I'm ready to devote to her like as a lifelong work. But I feel like has always been with me. I can kind of feel like, again, like going back to childhood, there are moments where I see her presence in my
Mhm,
life as
mhm.
like a lifelong guide. Spiders also have like always been an ally of mine, even as a child. I just feel like they're my friends and they're always near where I am in a peaceful way.
May I ask, so when you are interacting with your guides, is it always in a trance state, out of body state?
No, no,
Okay.
you can talk to them when you're here and like very much in your body. I just do that sort of in like a meditative state. Like I'll go into meditation. And I really feel like the difference between me being in a nice, relaxed, meditative state, talking to my guides, and then me being out of my body talking to my guides is it's pretty distinctly different. Like I feel like I have access to them at all times, but trying to think of a good analogy, like
Hmm.
how we are here, this is one way. And then if we were actually sitting in person, like the difference in just it being more sensory, more realistic, more
Hmm.
3D, touchable, smellable, all of that. Like I feel like that's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, that would be the out of body experience where it's more sensation
Yeah.
oriented.
Yeah. So out of body would be like in person. And then
Gotcha.
like what we're doing now is kind of what it feels like to me to just like casually check in with my guides in a meditative state.
That makes sense. And is it clairaudience? How do you describe the telepathy? You know, you can hear them in your mind's eye. Like, how do you describe the communication?
I would say that it's clairaudient mostly, but different guides communicate with me in different ways. Like I've definitely had guides that just like will give me a little like almost like movie clip to watch or
Right,
something.
right.
Other ones sometimes it's just energy or feelings and they don't really word at all.
Hmm.
I've also had, sometimes it's just like a phrase will be in my mind and it's like almost like I'm reading the words by
Hmm.
seeing them and I'm not hearing them.
Hmm.
So it can be really different, but I do love the Claire terminology for like describing how the info comes. It comes in a lot of ways for me, at least.
Well, it sounds like you're in touch with a lot of the clairs
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, there's so much I would want to ask you, but I mean, there's so many questions now that are starting to spin in my mind. So, how about this? Have you met a loved one who's passed on?
Yes,
You
I have.
you have?
Mhm.
Was that on out of body or
No, it seems like my loved ones that have passed on come to me in dreams more than
uh-huh,
anything. And I really do feel like I understand that I can go see them when I'm out of body. I know that's possible, but I just haven't really personally needed to do that with anybody.
right?
I feel really fortunate that I haven't really lost that many people in this life. I have a couple cousins that are gone and my grandmother too, but
Mm.
I'm really pretty at peace with those situations. So haven't really
No, I
felt
relate.
like,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
but
so,
it's
oh,
possible and you can.
yes, which I think is a wonderful benefit to learning to go out of body is that that's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's a huge motivation for a lot of people.
Yes. So maybe you could share with us a couple of your more either interesting out of body experiences or profound, whatever you feel like you think you might want to share with the listeners, because you probably have quite a few.
Yeah, I think like I always want to talk about Atlantis because it's a
Ooh,
place that I like to go. But I actually have a video coming out really shortly about it, and it's like a long
okay.
video about that experience. So I probably won't talk about that one in great detail, other than just saying that I feel like the place that I go when I go to Atlantis actually might be here in this realm, like wherever it is under the ocean, because it's like super ruined, but it has these
Oh,
like, it's like this like cloudy, weird, it feels like it's veiled magically. So like when I
ooh,
go there, I'm like swimming through and it's like it gets all dusty and I can't see certain areas except for this one plot that's like mine. And I know it's mine and I can go there and to me when I visit that place it's always about like memories and
mhm.
like finding memories, like recovering memories. And then sometimes I can like put stuff I don't want anymore in there and it'll like take it.
So like
So,
trauma or bad
yes,
stuff that
yes.
you've gone
Or
through
like just stories that aren't serving you anymore or just
and you
anything
release
you need,
it. Okay.
yeah, anything you need to let go of. And it's been very interesting because I've gone back there a few times. And what's unique about it is that I'll go there and I'll like get memories of things I didn't remember before. And then I'll release things. And I really can't remember the things that I've released. Like it's like gone. I
Wow.
could not tell you what it is.
Wow.
But then I'll
That's
come back with like
amazing.
new memories that I
Now,
had
are these new
forgotten.
memories that you've forgotten of this life or new memories of a
Yeah, they're
past
of this
life?
life.
Okay.
This life. Yeah.
Gosh, that is wild. I'd love to be able to do that. There's so much that I don't remember of even this
Yeah,
life.
maybe you need to make a trip to this realm Atlantis
This
because
realm
I know
Atlantis.
some people like I think that some people experience Atlantis through astral projection and they're like in that like thriving, like golden era place, and it's just never been that way for me. I think I'm getting
Hmm.
this physical realm Atlantis.
Do you know if you had a past life there?
I am positive that I did,
Okay.
but
So
I
that's why
haven't
there's such
viewed
a
it.
connection. So do you know of your past lives? Have you been able to connect with them through either like the shamanic journeys or out of body experiences?
I haven't really done any like any of the viewing of past lives while I'm out of body, but I have like shamanic journeyed into that topic, and I've found some like little. I feel like I have some knowledge of my past lives. I feel like there's a lot of them because
Mm. On this
I already
planet or
have.
just all over?
I feel like they're everywhere. Like I feel very old. But there have been a few in this world in older times, and I have like little clips of those. Like
Hmm.
um I feel very strongly that I was a conjoined twin at one point, and I
Hmm.
know the person that I was conjoined with at that time.
Cool.
um yeah, and then there's also like I have these like vivid memories of being like a clown ballerina.
Huh.
And I don't it when I see those, it's like very old and French feeling.
Hmm.
But I don't ever get like a whole, like I wish I had like a whole chronological report of what my past lives have been like and like what the years were. But I just get like little, almost like little memories of them.
Little bits and fragments and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, so what about ETs, if I can ask? Have you met any unusual, interesting ETs while out
Yes.
or while in? I don't know. Maybe they've come to visit you in person. I don't know.
No, that I don't, I mean, there's not much that frightens me, but I think that in-person encounters like that seem a little intense.
Intimidating. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't think that they're like beings that want to harm us. I just think they're just really different than we are and probably more intelligent.
Well, you're saying that you've had probably plenty of extraterrestrial type of past lives.
I think so. Yeah. There's like a great deal of like water experiences I have
Uh-huh.
a lot of.
Yes. Mhm.
Like
I've
really
had a
like,
few of
yeah, I
those.
would love
I
to
love
hear
them.
about that.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, tell me
yeah,
one of
I have.
yours if you want.
Yeah, so there's this water place that I've been to that's like I read sometimes about people talking about like the void, like the black void that they go into,
Hmm.
and that's like as close to my water experience in this one place that I can really think of because it's just like total darkness. And
Mm.
but it's like I'm swimming in total darkness for a
Hmm.
really long time,
Hmm.
and I can't really figure out what the deal is with that particular water place. Like I don't understand what
Hmm.
I don't understand it. So usually when I go places, I go to talk to a being or to do some kind of healing. Um
Okay.
this place though, I was given like my guides will give me like outfits to wear sometimes in different places. And
Hmm.
so I was given this like rotting fish carcass thing, really disgusting to
Mm.
wear. And they were like, "You're gonna need this sometime." And I was like, "That's disgusting. Thank you. I'll keep it." And so I I felt very strongly once I arrived in this like black void water place that that's what that outfit was for. So the first time that I went there, I felt like I made that realization once I plunked into this like dark water void. I was like swimming and swimming and swimming, and it was like a sensory depth sort of
Mm.
experience. But I knew it was water. Um, and I started to feel a little bit scared because I remembered that suit, and I was like, "Uh-oh, no, I'm not supposed to be here without that suit."
Oh.
So I ended up leaving the first time that I went there because I just felt really strongly like I wasn't safe there
Mhm, mhm.
without it. Have you ever been to like a super dark water place like that?
No, not a dark water
No.
place, but as you're describing that your guides have given you different outfits, I was just sharing with the friend that I show up sometimes out of body in an astral realm in the strangest outfits that I'm like, what could my astral self have been thinking that I'm wearing this? Because I don't remember how I get the outfit on. So it's like, okay, this is weird, but all right, I guess this is what I'm wearing. Okay. It's just
That's so
bizarre.
great. I wonder if your guides are like putting them on you, but since you're not like, do you have guides that you talk to?
I have not. One time I think I did, I was really intensely wanting to meet my guide. And finally, I did meet a woman and I believe that she was my guide, but that was the only time. And ever since, it's like, I haven't had any chats or anything like that other than that one time with a guide.
Okay,
But
that
yeah,
makes
so I
sense
don't know.
because
Maybe they're putting them, maybe they're making these suggestions before I'm becoming lucid. And they're like, you got to put
mhm,
this thing on. Trust me, it'll be better for you. And, you know, because I don't bring all of my memories back when I'm out. It's like
yeah,
pieces and fragments and chunks and stuff. So I know there's so much I'm not bringing back to my physical brain.
yeah, that happens too. Sometimes I won't remember, and then a few weeks later I will.
Right,
Does that
right.
ever happen to you where it'll
Yes.
come
And they're
back
like all the,
sometimes?
yeah, I don't know why though. Well, something makes it click. And then there's like this download, like, oh, right. I remember that.
Well, yeah, I think like our brains are kind of computer-like in that way. Like I think some things can get stored in places and then they get pulled through or like compressed and then you can find them
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, when we cross over, if we're just going to have a flood of download of all this information in lives, past lives and stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
That would be so cool, but also very overwhelming.
I think it might be, well, for this brain, it would be very overwhelming. So, what do you, so I'll ask you a couple of questions because we're getting close to running out of time. And I do want you to be able to share anything else that you feel like, oh no, I should have shared that story. So don't let me stop you if you want to do that. But do you feel like the things that you have been learning and refining and experiencing, that this is something that anyone can learn, you know, and train themselves? Or do you feel like, oh no, you have to be born with some kind of predisposition or gift?
I absolutely think that every single person can do this. And I I really like if I could send any message to the whole world, that would be like my biggest message is that I just want like every single person in the world to know that this is available to them and that they can experiment with different methods and find what works for them. I feel like on the boards, like the Facebook groups that we're both in, there's a lot of people that seem like they're just focusing on the sleep methods and maybe not trying to enter through lucid dreaming or through
Mm,
meditation or trance or hypnosis. And so I just really would encourage anybody that's like been trying a lot of the sleep techniques and not getting anywhere to kind of switch it up and start trying some of the other methods because I
oh,
really do
yes.
believe that
That
everybody
resonates with me
can.
personally on a personal level because um, I was doing indirect, you know, the indirect wake back to
Yeah.
bed, and I went through a dry spell. And I thought, gosh, I need to try this lucid dream stuff that people are talking about. And it started working. And I had some of the best experience, started having some of the even better experiences from lucid dreaming. And it's so
Yes.
easy if you can
Yes.
become lucid, but you got to get in that habit of learning to become lucid, which is not that hard, at least to do it sometimes. It really isn't, I don't think, for
Did you
most.
do like did you start doing reality checks? Is that how you got more
I
consistent with
did.
that or how
I
did
started dream journaling more, and I
Mhm.
started becoming doing reality checks, and I also started just taking note of what kind of repetitive things I've been having in my dreams, because that'll trigger me. Like I'll, you know, if you always lose your car keys, If you have that dream all the time, that could be a trigger. If you always lose your cell phone, or you can't, that you're trying to call on your cell phone and you can't figure out the numbers, learn how to make that be a trigger for you to wake up in your dream, stuff like that.
Yes,
It
that's
wasn't
such a
too
good tip.
bad. It didn't take too long for me to have my first lucid dream, but then I had to figure out, wait, now how do I AP from a lucid dream? Then I had to remember, oh yeah, you have to remember to do that too. So, but
Yeah, there's a couple steps.
right. I just like the flying straight up kind of thing. For me, that
Yeah,
works well. But
that's the easiest one for me too. I just like blast off.
mhm. So I guess, well, one of the other things was we talked about some benefits. So benefits to astral projecting, for example, out of body experiences. Obviously, you could possibly meet up with your loved one. Are there any other benefits that you think are very important to remind us of or let us know about?
I mean, I'm like team spiritual. I think there's like a lot of spiritual information and also just like opportunity to grow and like know yourself in a really deep way that you
Mhm.
maybe don't have exactly that opportunity here in the physical realm. Like I just feel like having these experiences has added so much depth to me as a person and what I know I'm capable of, and it makes me feel really limitless, and that like crosses over into my day-to-day life. Like if I remember the experiences I have out of my body, I think of myself as limitless because I know I can go fantastical places and do
Mhm.
fantastic things. And so something about that in the back of my head during the day sort of, I guess, like influences everything that I do.
Uh, Beautifully put. I think you're absolutely right. And I love that. I love that you brought that up. Um,
And I guess
so
that's like not even, it doesn't have to be spiritual. I think just having an experience like that makes you feel limitless, and then it makes you believe in yourself more somehow.
which is, I feel like, is a spiritual a concept, but yeah, absolutely beautiful. So couple more things. So before we end, of course, again, don't feel shy. You could share any other experience. And I also want to know if there's any projects that you're working on currently, and of course, how listeners can connect with you. And of course, I'll put any links up in the description, like your YouTube channel or anything else.
Yeah. I really not sure that there's anything that I feel like I need to share or say. I feel like I've talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
guess I really just do want people to know that there's like a lot of or just that like out of body experiences in the astral realm really pair well with like ritual work and
Oh, right.
spells and things like that. So if you are a pagan or a Wiccan, or you're kind of dabbling in those sorts of practices, like adding AP into your practice can really feed into that. Because like if I'm, like if I'm doing a working with Aphrodite, and then, I do whatever here in a ritual for the full moon or something, being able to go out of body and just like talk to her directly is the most amazing thing, and like talk to her about what I'm working on and like get feedback or like ask advice or like ask what she wants from me. And it's like going to the source firsthand, and I just really enjoy that opportunity as like a practitioner of magic, instead of just like doing something here and then wondering like if it was received well, or if I did what they wanted, or if I offered the right thing, or so that's something that I think people should know, just that it pairs nicely like as a skill for
Mhm.
people that are practicing magic.
That's a great point. That's a great point, because I have had people ask me that have these practices and they don't really know much about AP, and I haven't really known how to share with them how it can be paired and how they can benefit one another. So thank you for bringing that up. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I am
And then,
excited at watching some of your YouTube stuff. I mean, I have seen probably almost all of it, but I'm kind of excited about this
oh,
next thing that you said you're going to be sharing.
oh, about Atlantis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then projects wise, I've got my YouTube channel, which you've already seen, and I have like pretty much all my stuff is under Cordelia Darkly. So my website is cordeliadarkly.com. I have a Facebook page under that name as well. It's like a business page. I do coaching sessions with people, just like astral mentoring sessions, especially with people who've been trying for a really long time and don't know like what to do or what the trouble is. And I talk to a lot of people for free about those things too. But if it's somebody who just really wants that like time and attention, I'll do an hour long like problem solving session with them. And you can book those on my website. And I also have an 8-hour course on astral projection. It's on my website also.
Wow. Okay. You're busy. Cool. This has been
Yeah, it's
so
just
fun. No, go. What were you going to say?
it's the
Your
course is
favorite
like
thing?
the course is like a self-paced course, so it's really great. You can just purchase it and then move along at your own speed. It's 8 hours, but somebody could watch that in a day, or they could take a
True.
couple months to get through it. And it's just
Right.
it's really a lot of information. I think like I kind of intended it to be like an 8-week thing for people, but
Mm.
you can just watch it at your own pace.
Right. Depending on where your level is at too,
Mhm.
and your life. And wow. So thank you so much. This has been really fun. You're welcome to come
Yeah.
on again too in the future if you want and share other.
I think that's a
Uh,
strong possibility. Yeah.
yeah, I would love it. So thank you everyone for watching. This has been Julie McVey with Unordinary Made Ordinary, and I hope you will join us again for another fascinating interview. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, of course. And then if you like this type of content, then please subscribe and then hit the bell icon so that you will be alerted to future videos. And I hope you're having a fantastic day or evening, wherever you are on the planet or off the planet. And we'll see you next time. Bye.